My brothers and sisters and my beloved confreres, a very hearty welcome to each one of you to the third Sunday of Easter. I was always enchanted by a usage in English, he is fallen in love, or she is fallen in love. Have you noticed anything special about it? When somebody is in love, they say they are fallen in love. It shows the depth and the intimacy of this relationship, as well as how a person or two persons are raptured by love, at least for that time being. Falling in love. But many times we also find the same people who have fallen in love for some time have also parted from their love relationship. When I read today's gospel passage, I was given an impression of the same feeling when it came to connect with our discipleship with Jesus. We are today presented with the gospel passage of John, where we see Jesus encountering his disciples at the shore of the Sea of Galilee. John the Evangelist would say, for the third time the Lord appeared to his disciples. If you calculate in number, it is the fourth time. Most probably, the encounter with Mary Magdalene is not numbered by John here. The third time, Jesus encounters his disciples in order to emulate the sense of relationship with them so that they understand the meaning of discipleship. Discipleship is a renewal of your love relationship with the Master. It is a falling in love with him. John the Evangelist very clearly mentions Simon Peter and 6 other disciples decided that they would go fishing. Who were these 7 together? Of course, the names of 5 are mentioned there, but 2 disciples are not even named. Simon is there, Thomas the apostle, Nathanael, and the sons of Zebedee, naturally, James and John. And the commentators would say the other 2 most probably would be Andrew and Philip. There are 7 of them. In the biblical language, the number 7 is the perfect number. It is a perfection, completion. So it refers to that universal church. Later in the book of Revelation, John himself would speak about the 7 churches. And this 7 is the completion of the presence of Christ in the whole church. Naturally, it also is represented by some head. For example, Peter represents the Latin church or the Latin rite today. Andrew represents the Greek church. And Thomas represents the Syrian church. Representation and animation by these 7 stalwarts of the church makes the church complete in relationship with the Master, Jesus Christ. Now, what are they going to do? It is a very bleak time of their relationship. After the resurrection of Jesus, the disciples are shattered. Their convictions are very low. In spite of the fact that Jesus had sufficiently instructed them that he would die and he would rise again, they were not convinced about it. In their desperation, under the leadership of Peter, they made a decision. We shall return to our old profession. Always remember, Peter was called from that profession of fishing to become fishers of men. Now, he would like to leave that discipleship and go back to fishing. But interestingly, the gospel says, that night they did not get any fish. Distancing yourself from the Master, losing the sense of your direction and losing your discipleship itself is the result of being away from the master. You can never catch fish without your master animating you. This should be a very clear message for all of us. Until and unless the Lord builds, in vain do the laborers labor. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we are called today to understand the meaning of well-knit relationship in our discipleship with the Master. It is here that we see Jesus coming to them and asking them, "My children, have you got anything?" The invitation is to understand, even when the disciples deny him, even when the disciples betray him, even when the disciples go away from him, the Master cannot leave you alone. He will go back to them. He will strengthen them. He will come back and call them my little children. Yes, my brothers and sisters, here comes the power and the strength of the word. Jesus, a non-professional in fishing, tells the disciples, throw the net on the right side. And it happens. They had a great haul of fish, 153 of them. And you must remember, when the word is spoken by the Master, it will happen. It has happened during the lifetime here on earth, and the disciples were the direct witness of those powerful words and the fulfillment of it in their own lives. Yes, when the word was spoken, when the Master touched, it happened. The power of the word is implied therein. Only but love alone can make you recognize that it is the Lord. The disciples were so surprised to see the haul of fish, but none of them really realized that it is the Master, except John, who immediately felt within himself a move of relationship. And he says, it is the Lord. Yes, my brothers and sisters, only the one who is in love and in experience of love can recognize and acknowledge the presence of the loved one. When John said that it is the Lord, Peter jumps in his emotional response to that. Yes, they all were in awe and wonder. And they went in and brought the whole of fish. How many of them? 153. The ancient people used to say there are 153 varieties of fish in the sea. And this 153 is a number that refers to the whole of humanity. The disciples today are called to bring the humanity together in love and relationship. Even though there were 153 fish, the net was not torn. The church will never be torn when violence and turbulence happen against it, because the Master who is at the rear of the boat is the animator of the church. Yes, love is the only sign of a well-knit relationship. That's where Jesus asks Peter, do you love me more than these? More than your profession? More than the net and the boat? More than your companions who are here? And at the third question, do you love me? Peter was at tears. Love makes you weep, and that tear is hot, and it brings you back once again to that well-knit relationship of discipleship. Yes, my brothers and sisters, every disciple is in love, and every disciple is entrusted with a mandate to go and pasture the sheep. That's where we see the first reading. The disciples, in spite of the blows they receive, in spite of the rage and the fury of the Pharisees and the Jews, go about preaching the word of God. They are fallen in love. Are you fallen in love with Jesus? Amen.